Ladies and gentlemen.
Na na na. Na na na.
What is that mouse on Space Jam? Ladies and gentlemen.
No, shut up.
I wasn't. Yeah, get like a countdown.
All right. We are back in leadership in 3-2-0. I'm Brennan.
I'm Mitchell.
Hot start here. That was fantastic. Fantastic start.
Didn't think it would make sense.
Okay. We're done. We're done with that. Well,
Too early.
we got a little conversation to have this week. Ultimately, all about time. We're going to talk about time and its value in all aspects, as in the workplace, at home, kind of our deal when we talk about everywhere leadership realms. I believe time is critical in success and the happiness of everybody.
Yeah, got to use it to your advantage.
Just as I say this, as I grab the microphone, which I said I wasn't going to do anymore, I just realized I'm wedding bandless with our golf outing. That's the only time that it's removed because I'm such an ace out there.
Wow.
It gives me a blood blister.
Just because you're a terrible golfer doesn't mean you need to give yourself a blood blister in the process of it. You may as well save that.
No, I got to eliminate that excuse anyway, so I'll have to track that down.
I actually took mine off on the second hole and I put it in my pocket. And then I thought I lost it like 3 holes later, so I made sure I put it in my golf bag.
I think that's where mine is, I hope. Yeah.
You haven't wore it in like 2 days?
Guess not.
Jeez.
Just been on the prowl since then, yeah. No, not the case. But ultimately, yeah, we've talked about this a little bit before. And again, it applies from a time management perspective, and just valuing it, I guess, for what it's worth, whether we're talking on the weekends or on the weekday, whatever it may be, making good use of your time.
After I do, I like to sleep in a little bit, as you know. Gotten a little bit better with that.
You do things at very weird times. Like, for example, when we were, this led to some other things as well, but when we were going to the fair over the weekend, and we got a text on the chat line from your lovely wife when, we were supposed to leave at 2:00.
Well, we were originally supposed to leave.
Yeah, whatever. But anyways, after all this was decided with the weather and stuff, this is when we're leaving. Then I get a text at like 1:45, I believe. I don't have my phone on me. That said Mitchell's just going for a run.
Yeah, and I told
So we're going to be there after that. So she still hasn't realized. She's been around for a minute yet, but she still hasn't realized that I don't even know if it's been such a whirlwind for you guys the last several months. She doesn't realize she's on Mitchell time. No. And she has been the last several months.
She knows. And
she's not going to like it.
She doesn't.
Can I tell you something? I don't like it.
Nobody does.
What drives me crazy about it with you? You're busy enough, guy.
I am not.
I get that. We're
2 minutes into this, and you got me on trial.
You got a job. You got a job.
I do have a job.
Can be demanding at times. Keeps you plenty busy. I acknowledge that. You get a new family. You're a new dad. Mm-hmm. You're newly married in a sense. You've had a lot of house projects, got a lot of stuff going on. But my God, you are not that busy. That's the only time you could have squeezed a run in is at 2:00 on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was waiting for the wind to die down.
To do what? All your other chores and duties? What'd you do before 9 o'clock?
I don't know, cooking, cleaning.
Yeah, right.
Mowing the lawn.
I want to know what you got done before 9 a.m.
Before 9?
Yeah.
Well, what about from 9 to 1:45?
Well, I want to know what happened before 9 first.
Before 9, we're looking more at what happened from 8 to 9. That's probably... It was Saturday. I slept in a little bit till 8.
Well, this was Sunday.
Sunday? Oh, yeah, it was. Sunday, I slept in until 8:30.
Oh, we might have to fact check this for next week because I feel like if you're giving out 8:30, that's like in a negotiation. That's your first offer, and hopefully I don't press it anymore. I think I could get up to 8:45 in a real hurry if I wanted to.
8:45.
Regardless, that's just what drives me insane, and I have a little of that in me too.
I went to church. I didn't see you there.
You didn't go to church.
You would never know.
I went to the earlier one.
That is the early one.
I was praying for you before you while you were still sleeping. You're the first on my list all the time.
No, we were cleaning up.
We were?
Yeah, it was a team. Joint effort.
No. Yeah, they had already mentioned, I don't know if it was mentioned to you, and I said it's way too early in the game, but they already mentioned that they would like to crash the discussion one of these weeks. Or have
At
some
the
input
same time?
Well, I don't know. It was just mentioned to me in passing.
Oh, man. I haven't heard that.
So this is just getting on the list. That
I think that week's just going to turn into like a roast fest.
I don't think so. I'll try to get off you. But anyways, sometimes your attention to time is just a little interesting.
I love the thrill.
Just your own, like living on the edge.
Yeah.
But
gets the adrenaline going.
I won't roast you per se anymore, or I'll try not to.
That's all right. Anyway. It's an area of
to strengthen.
Yeah.
I think, when I think of time, I've been trying to think about it more. We talked about it last week a little bit as far as just improving on the day, trying to make things a little more quantitative, I guess. Breaking things down and making it attainable. It's less,
Give me the definition of quantitative.
Quantitative?
Yeah, I want to hear.
It's more numerical, like things you can measure with numbers. You can see the change. Or qualitative would be, more summative, more, it would involve like in the research world, if you actually want to call me out, would be like interviews. You would get your data, where quantitative would be more numbers and graphs.
And this is, I should have known better than to challenge you with this, because for those of you who are not aware, I'm with Dr. Kent over here.
I have attained that, yes, as my son tells me all the time, though. And to strangers, he doesn't know. He's not a real doctor, though. No, thanks, buddy. Yeah, no. In my own field, I've attained that. But anyways, something saw me, and then here's a number I'll throw at you. This hit me kind of in the gut. I don't know if anyone's ever told you this before on something. I can't remember if Brennan shared it with me or I just saw it on my own. But ultimately what it was looking at your time with your kids. And that was, from their day of birth to, when they turn 18, which is the magic age, whether, of course, that doesn't always fall, exactly. It's not like they pack out usually and move out of the house the day they turn 18, but you got 936 Saturdays with your little people from 0 to 18.
936.
Which again, that's not a perfect number as far as, it's 936, but
It says that including leap years.
I'd like them to think they'd come back and see a little better spend a Saturday, but it's like, holy smokes, that's not a lot of time. It's not a lot of days.
No, especially I'm like a third done.
Well, yeah. Well, you entered the game a little later, so you, to not your own fault, you weren't there for.
Oh, I missed a few.
So you only got, well, what? We could do the math. How old is that little son of a gun?
I think it'd be 6. So like I said, literally.
6.
Well, not a third. I'm a third done. I didn't miss a third, I guess. So I missed 3 years. So what? 1/6?
Yeah, we'll even just put them at miss that, but regardless, no, it is. Well, for both of us, we can do the same math for both of the boys. What is 52 times 12?
52 times 12?
Yeah, wouldn't that be how much?
Isn't that like
500, big number.
600.
Math is hard this late.
600 and something.
Not very many though.
No.
And even less for my older one. So that kind of hit me a little bit. It's like, gosh, I mean, you know, if you just tick it down, and that's if things go well. That's if the old ticker doesn't blow up before then or something. or something.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? That's if everybody remains healthy.
Oh,
know?
or you could have the inverse of that and end up like mom and dad with me. Instead of 900 and something, I think they got like 1800.
Hey, you're probably going to be, I don't know. Well, we might have to start re-recording here. We'll decide here in a second. I just have to say this. This is completely. I just readjusted your seat.
I'm trying to stabilize myself.
Speaking of that, no, that was great. That worked for you, mom and dad. That was awesome. How everything worked out with your extended stay. But this is one of the funniest things, and I could call him out right now. One of my favorite coworkers of all time. I shared this with him when I was teaching.
I'm concerned.
That you said no. He was always up for a good laugh, but it was hard to get him to like really chuckle. And this, we'll put him on the floor, was when you had said, and this was a long time ago, by the way, for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But when you were seeing a lady of some kind or whatever, and a lady of interest, and you had said about, you know,
I think we are rapidly ending this session. What are you saying?
No, I'm trying to think how this went. It was you had said about, you know, when you were not really serious with this person, like the first date, second date, or whatever, you were just explaining that, you know, I still hang out with my mom and dad or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I live, and she was asking some questions or whatever, and ultimately you said, oh, well, you know, it's not that weird. You know, we sleep on opposite ends of the room of each other. Our beds are on separate sides of the room. Anyways, that was good. That was a good one. I don't even know if you actually told her that or not, if it was a story, but knowing you probably did.
If I did, it was definitely the last date.
And that was probably told her that story about 5 minutes before you asked her to split the bill at Applebee's and never saw her again. Have you ever done that? Asked someone.
No.
Has it ever happened? And you didn't oh, well, you know, we'll cut this in half here. And then have you ever let it happen?
If I didn't enjoy their company.
Well, maybe it was the other way.
Well, no, I can guarantee you they probably didn't enjoy mine.
So you have done that?
No. I was usually more disappointed about losing the time that I was there than
we'll speak of the devil here. But no, back to that time. Like I said, that's your number. And that's the highest that number can be.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
See how this thing goes.
Yeah. Who knows how long that's going to stick around. Always said.
We did. We got the limited warranty.
And we didn't buy any insurance.
No, because they wouldn't give us any. They saw the past track records and they're like, no, we don't want nothing to do with this.
No, you don't qualify.
Should do this really. Probably update my life insurance before any of this gets out. We won't be insurable.
I don't think they take that off two chums doing a podcast. You might look at a medical record or something for that.
Yeah,
or a blood test.
A blood test.
Oh my God.
This guy.
I thought we were doing.
This guy's blood is half maple syrup and
I thought we
margarine.
were doing a blood test on a somewhat fit. How old are you? 30.
I'm 34 now.
Somewhat fit 34-year-old man. This blood like it came from
kind of like corns.
This blood came from an 88-year-old woman. I don't know what happened. Half corn syrup. No, but I don't know. As far as, one doesn't want to live in that world every time where you're thinking, oh my gosh, I absolutely have a meltdown because oh my God, that was one of my 936. I ruined it. Freak out every Saturday evening when it didn't go the way you wanted to. But I think so much of it is just being cognizant and keeping that in front of your mind. just keeping that in your mind. I think a guy does that through, again, whatever you want to call it, reflection, meditation, or whatever, even if it's 2 minutes in the morning, whatever that looks like for you, hopefully.
And for me, I mean, one of our, and it's not I think, again, I mentioned this before, I think too, but it's good to, I think, like have traditions, whether it's, weekly, yearly, whatever, but as long as it's not putting too much stress or strain on you. It can't be like, it's pizza night, we're doing pizza. Even if everybody else wanted to go out and do this. No, we're doing it tonight.
Gotta have it.
But no, I mean, we always get on like we said, the bakery train, which probably, again, isn't helping this thing, but every Saturday morning and go grab that. And, it's kind of just something to look forward to and good way to kick the day off on a positive note. And, again, it's always a little concerning. I know you said with Dirk's not having the Kent genes necessarily. He's got the name now, but not the genes. But just before, he's 5 now. But when you've got a 4-year-old that can walk up to the counter at the bakery and say, I want the glazed twist and the whatever croissant. It's probably not good when they can just completely name off what they want.
No. He gets a caramel croissant?
I'm trying to think. No, excuse me. He likes a Danish donut.
Jeez, he gets 2 donuts?
He gets 2 donuts. But he's this big around.
He's so is in the movie The Replacements. He's whitery.
Whitery.
I'm whitery.
Yeah. So
Turks is whitery.
It's okay. I don't know. People see him and they think that he's like 13 years old, but it's like, how old? What grade are you going into? 4th or 5th? And he's in preschool.
The big southpaw.
Yeah, but no, just having that time, using those Saturdays and, going to grandma's afterwards and just, having, not, Saturdays are worth looking forward to anyway, but just having something to do and something to
I think it's good
time with.
To have, like you said,
play
tradition.
Play some games.
You get the locked in time. That's why I like those things. What I mean? That's guaranteed as far as guaranteed can be, as far as this is what we do. Know what I mean? So then that's going to happen.
So you doing that just triggered something for me.
This is good.
Yeah, well, this is just last week. And again, there's all, sometimes there's things to work on, things you got to do, and it's priorities, but sometimes the priorities might not surface, I guess. You're working on something that you could have waited on. But the other day, Dirks was like, can we go play baseball? And I'm like, let's do it. Let's go play baseball. Well, summer is starting to wind down and, there's going to be a day here when we either can't do that anymore, because we're both in school, or you just, we don't want to. So we go out and we play baseball, and we played and we played and we played and we kept on going. And took a quick water break and we kept on playing, and finally I looked and we were out there for like 2 hours, and finally it's like one of the first times ever I outlasted him. He starts walking toward the house and just without even looking at me, he just not yells, but he's like, this game is over. So I'm like, okay. So we're getting 2 hours of baseball, and the next day he goes and he asked about baseball. We didn't play right away in the morning, and that ended up, you guys came over or something, and then we had to go to Benson and grab something. And on the way home, this is bringing up this part, I'll have my mirror down a little bit so I can kind of see him in the back of the truck. And 2 hours of baseball the day before, he literally quit because he'd had enough. And he's like, hey, Dad, tomorrow can we play baseball again? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, play baseball because you didn't today. I was like, for starters, I do not like that you accurately use the air quotes. Like how quickly one forgets, yesterday, and again, we did this, and today he's right there, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So, I'm like, and we didn't. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, I went outside then and hit the ball around a little bit once we got home. But it's like, yeah, you got to always be utilizing your time, I guess, to the best you can. And this is the last thing I'll say with him in this for now. I mean, I'm on a little tangent, but The only other thing with him then the other night, I go to him then because he's got a good personality on him. And I had said, do you think, even when you're older, thinking about time and all this stuff, are you, when you come visit and everything, are you always going to think that I'm cool? And he just looks at me and he kind of stares at me for a second. He's like, well, I'm always going to think that you're funny. So it's like, all right, I guess I can deal with that or try to.
That might change in a hurry.
Uh-huh. You still think I'm funny? I think I'm funny.
I know you think you're funny.
That's all that matters.
You got that O'Malley in you too, where you tell a joke and start scouring the table looking for your laugh. Which you do, depending upon. But oftentimes, more times than not, as of late, in the middle of the crowd, you see my face like this. I can't even pretend that I can't even pretend that I don't know you, unfortunately, with our likenesses. I think you said it. You were mistaken for me and I was mistaken for you already this week once, which is really unfortunate, really, for us both.
Your own son called me daddy the other day when I was walking away.
For us both, that's not good.
We both make fun of each other's haircuts and stuff all the time, but they're cut about the exact freaking same.
I hope not. Looking at yours right now.
Look at this. It's looking.
Do you remember what I told you just like 2 days ago when I saw you had a new haircut?
Yep.
Do you want to say it or should I?
I'm not saying it. I don't want to.
I said, you do know it's like not against the rules and it's okay when you're giving yourself a haircut in the bathroom. You can have the lights on.
Told you I like a challenge.
I don't know. Maybe give someone else a crack next time. No,
the price is right.
I mean, someone that can see the back of your head while you're doing it.
I can't see it, so it doesn't bother me.
Like when it's done?
Yeah. Huh? Can't hardly see when I'm doing it either, but I'm trying to use the mirrors and get them both.
Goodness. I'm surprised your shoulders allow you to do that.
No, it requires some stretching beforehand.
Oh goodness! I was thinking of something I could tell them. We really got to get back on track, just about time in general, and how I think sometimes that lends itself. You gotta not your own time well, but make sure you're serving other people's time too, which maybe means doing things not on your agenda, which would include going to about a 4.1 out of 5 star Elvis show in a
4.1 out of 5 stars is fantastic.
You
realize that? That's like really good.
4.1 out of 5?
Yeah.
It's like a B.
4
like a straight
4
B.
out of 5. That's like a 4-star hotel. That's fantastic.
82%.
Huh?
So B, which I think describes what we saw.
If you thought it was a B, that's great, because I thought it was an A+.
Well, Mitchell and I, a couple of years ago, which we already failed before, I already had a couple of kids and Mitchell was not married yet at the time. I don't even think you had met your Ashley at this time.
No.
So we decided to, we better do something before, things just become so booked and get a year or two in so then we can say we do this all the time. This has been going on forever.
This is tradition.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. So I guess a couple school administrators thought it was a good time in the summer months to go do a little unwind in Las Vegas.
I'm wondering why it was so cheap until I got out of the plane and it was 120 degrees.
So the story, and I actually told a little piece of this at Mitchell's wedding, which I thought was funny at the time, but
it was
ultimately, and again, satisfying other people's, that's important to do too. And Mitchell, on his short list of things he wanted to do,
this was number 1
in Las Vegas, was see a
Elvis impersonator, which I'll say, I think he forgot he was an impersonator several times. That's how good he was.
Yeah.
He fooled me.
So Mitchell goes, and we had not been in this place. That was not on the top of my list. It was our first time there.
I paid
So,
for
I
you to
don't
go.
think-
That's how bad I wanted
Yeah.
to see him.
Finally said, it's like, God, I really don't want to do that. You know, I didn't say that, but he clearly could
No,
tell.
you didn't want to.
I don't think I flat out said it though, but it was easy to say.
No.
So finally you either said, or I'm like, yeah, whatever. And you bought the tickets. And you said, you know, I'm paying for it. You know, I want to go. I'm like, sure, whatever. So we are on the strip hanging out, and, you know, you pulled up the Uber app or the Lyft app or whatever, and it was like 1.3 miles away, which doesn't sound that far. But then you pulled up that was Google Maps, 1.3 miles away. And you pull up the Lyft app, and it was going to be like $60 some. And you're like, oh my God, that's, you know, over the price of one of the tickets. You know? Yeah, we can't do that. You know, God forbid. So bought me a ticket, but also you went into I can't remember what stores there.
We got an Uber on the way home.
Was it CVS? Because we would have been killed if we didn't. If we didn't get an Uber on the way home. But because it was an interesting walk in the 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
We were no longer on the strip at
No.
that point. We were 1.3 miles off of the strip.
That was not a good spot to be. And it was in the CVS stores. I think that's what they have out there. No, ABC. I think it was ABC
No, this
stores.
was.
Whatever.
I think this
CVS.
was a CVS.
Regardless.
Too many acronyms.
So if you recall, you couldn't buy me or couldn't pay for us, which again, I acknowledge you bought the tickets, but it was $60 Uber. But you went in, instead of buying the Uber, I didn't go into the store. I can't remember if I was talking on the phone or something. And you came out with a blue Gatorade for each of us, a Coors Light for each of us, and a huge bag of Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
To prep us for our 1.3 mile hike in the desert, which at that time was about 116 degrees.
Was it dry heat?
Dry heat. Oh my gosh.
I will say though that think about that. I definitely didn't spend $60 in goods at the store, and I mean, what kind of a story would it have been if we just hopped in an Uber and drove there?
And like I said, well, we mentioned earlier that we had been mistaken for each other. That goes right into what happened when we arrived at that church or event center or whatever. We walk in there. We weren't terribly late, but
No, we weren't late. We were early.
But we got the attention of all 32 people that were sitting there when we walked in, which
It was an intimate setting. It was a full house.
it was an intimate setting, yes, which made it a
Small.
little more weird that we were. No, but I said sometimes, you know, if you and I are hanging out somewhere, we give people the twin vibes per se. So, you know, I catch a couple of looks when there was like, and I said, as I realized, I'm like, oh, that's what's going on here. But then there was more, and I'm like, well, it's either that or they're staring at us because we're completely sweating our butts off, dripping sweat. Everyone else apparently Ubered there or bus there.
Thank goodness, because they were all 70
Or
plus
drove.
years
And that
old.
was the other reason that they were looking at us, because they were over the age of 70 and we were the only guys in the place. So we crossed all the boxes.
I'm glad we didn't splurge for the VIP seating, because we were in the very back and we were still only 5 feet from the stage.
Yeah, we got plenty of interaction for the man himself. I'm glad that I didn't have him sweating on me during
It's
it.
close.
Oh, you got a little jealous. He was passing out those bandanas. You were doing some heavy reaching.
Yeah, I
Trying to do it
didn't. I
nonchalantly.
couldn't steal one
But
away.
the best part of the whole thing, and then we'll get refocused here, was that we couldn't splurge for the $60 Uber. But when Elvis, which at that time, again, I had to remind you that he's not the real guy.
I knew he wasn't.
Oh, I know. Oh, there you go.
Elvis.
Because as soon as he said out in the lobby, you know, I'll be there to, you know, chat a little bit and take a picture if you want. You about threw your chair back off the little stage thing. And you were the first one in line. You can say whatever. You were the first one in line.
Well, I didn't even have to run, like you said. It was all 70-plus-year-old people that were in there. I had the advantage.
And we should find out how to put things up on the screen. We're going to get to that level here, because this would be hilarious if I could do that. Maybe we'll try to get that done. Maybe on Facebook or something. We'll throw it up. Anyways, God forbid we pay $60 on the Uber, but you're the first one in line, and the picture was $20.
It was 10, I think.
And it was on your iPhone 6, which don't deny it was an iPhone 6. You can count the pixels in that picture of you and the king.
That makes it look that much more real.
And the last thing I'll say is, as we're walking out there, again, whether you're justifying it to me, yourself, or whatever it may be, we didn't even say anything after I'm pretty sure I took the picture. Didn't they even? They didn't even have anybody taking it.
It was my phone. You took the
just
picture.
at the backdrop. Yeah, you gave him the cash.
Me and the king.
I think he put that right in his pocket. And as we were walking out there,
I got to tuck it in this whole
to get a
suit.
Uber was, oh my god! All you said was worth it. With conviction, you said it.
No, that
worth
wasn't.
it.
That
I remember
wasn't
looking at you like,
that wasn't a justification thing. That
Which
was
part?
that was a great time. Is what that was.
My goodness, no.
And again, this should be very clear. I said it once before. I'm going to say it again. We did Uber back.
We almost didn't.
I
remember running around. We couldn't find them.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
We were like up and down that parking lot. And we had like a
both
5
sides.
minutes to get there, and we almost didn't.
Yeah, no. Then I'm sure we would have been walking back, and we probably wouldn't be here to talk about that.
One of us wouldn't, for sure.
In our second trip, there might even had a more eventful first day. We'll tell that story another time.
That's too long of a story for right now.
Ultimately, though, when I think of time, and like I said, if you think of completely your role with as a dad, you have that timeline. Think of a school year. I mean, a school year is not that whole heck of a lot of days, when you break it down. Just how quick things move along. Not sound like an old timer. Oh, time goes by so fast. But, when you quantify some of that in your life.
Quantitatively. No, when you quantify it and qualitatively quantify it. Think about that.
I don't think that makes a heck of a lot of sense. Maybe it does in some regard. But I guess the best advice I've garnered and I can give myself and try to do it repeatedly to center yourself a little bit is the adage, wherever you are, be there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're at work, be kicking butt, slaying it at work. Be killing it at work. If you're at home with your wife, if got a babysitter or whatever it may be, or if the kids are asleep, be there with your wife. If the kids are up, be there with them. Play video games, focus in on that hard as you can, and wherever you are, be there.
Gotta take advantage of it.
No, because then I find myself driving myself crazy when you think about time and the waste of time. It's like when I can feel myself getting in a bad cycle of running once in a while, I'm doing the exact opposite. So if I'm at home, you're thinking, my gosh, that's going to be an interesting meeting tomorrow. I didn't get this done, this done, this done. Mm-hmm. And then when I'm at work, God, last night, instead of just hanging out with the kids, all I was doing was waste my time,
A vicious cycle.
Yeah. And then when you're in the same, it goes all the way around when you're with your spouse and you're supposed to be hanging out, having fun. You're thinking about the time you burnt up with your kids, whatever. And that's a good recipe to go crazy, my friend. That's not a healthy.
No, it's
not a healthy choice. But I think one can find themselves getting in those cycles sometimes, right? So that's why you got to put these, again, pieces in place and strategies, making sure you're taking care of yourself. So you got some constants. Know what I mean? So we've talked about, I sweat on my hands. We're doing this. I'm the sweater tonight. Got
it looks like vegetable oil on your forehead.
Vegetable oil. I'm coming off a little illness here. I'm hoping I'm sweating some of it out. Or maybe it's just
tastes like.
Maybe it's starting up again. What time are we at? I got to get out of here. Actually, maybe that's what it is. I'm thinking, look, it's coming through my pants a little bit.
What?
The sweat. I'm sweating. Anyways, you find yourself getting these cycles sometimes. So is life. Things come up. I don't know what you're even. Can't deal with you right now. What is it? You watch that show. I've only watched a couple of it. What's the one with Rip? That Yellowstone?
Oh, yeah.
what is it?
Yellowstone.
Rip and Beth, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Where he comes out of the house, and I don't even know the episode. I've watched very sparingly. I want to watch it, but I don't have the energy for you today, I believe he says.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling with you right now. I don't have the energy for you right now. Anyways, you put these things in place. So, you're doing if you're got your fitness in lock, again, so you have these things that you do each day, whether it's you're running a mile a day, doesn't matter what happens, that's got to get done. Other healthy things, if you're reflecting each day, whether it's in the shower, you're giving yourself at least a minute and a half, 2 minutes of time, or if you wake up before you pick up your poison block. That's what I've been calling my cell phone lately.
It's too early in the year to call it that.
I don't mean that. Usually my stuff, work stuff, worst case, there's challenges and stuff. Those are all people challenges.
You just mean the time you're using on it? Or
I mean, so like the other things I consume on it, which usually aren't like making me really happy about stuff. Anything from news or whatever else, it's not putting my mind in a great place. So trying to avoid that. But again, being conscious of these things, making choices, your diet and everything. But like I said, we talked about it the first episode, that power hour, whatever you want to call it, with your kids. But ultimately, if I am being present, so wherever I am being there, I find myself, I'm rather happy. Know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If I'm on the golf course and I'm into my trying to save double bogey on most holes, I'm all about that. If I'm at work, even if it's an interesting day at work, no matter what job it is or what job I've had, I mean, if it's a complete crap show or if it's an absolute great uneventful day at work, I find myself, I'm in it. You know what I mean? If that's all I'm thinking about, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
If I'm at home and happy with being a dad.
When you think about it, I mean, if you're at home and you're thinking about work and you've got the kids trying to hang out or get your attention and you're trying to focus on that, I mean, that's definitely a little more stressful. And I imagine if you're at work and you should be getting something done and you're trying to map out the rest of your week at home or whatever it is, that's not going to be very stress-free either.
So we've talked about being present, but I think that's vicious. Yeah, like you said, you can catch yourself on these vicious cycles, but
yeah, I think set boundaries for yourself and make sure you stay on top of it.
But that's what I said. I think tradition, I would even say, in my head, you said just your bakery trips with your little guy. I think that's just routine. He's expecting it. This is going to happen, so there's been some accountability that's etched rather deep at this point. Know what I mean?
Yeah. If there was a Saturday morning that didn't involve something bigger, like, we're going down to grandma's or we're going to a Twins game or, whatever it is.
If you're not buying me a cinnamon roll, we best be going to the zoo.
Seriously. Well, and, he's smart enough where there's honestly been a couple times where we're like, hey, we're going to go do this instead. Well, we got to go by the bakery. What's your point?
Yeah. But it's being 100% intentional about stuff. Like I said, even if it's planned out, even if you're holding, I found, which Brennan will admit this, she won't like me saying it. She's kind of another child in the fact that if you make a plan or just mention something, oh God, Thomas Rhett's in the city's in a couple of months. In her mind, she just said, you're booking the hotel and whatever else. Yeah, we're getting tickets. So she's good at holding accountable as far as, hey, haven't done a movie night in a while, whether it's with the kids or not, or, should play a board game or something tonight. I think that's all it takes. But then, that goes around. It's a cycle of, it takes a little time to communicate about that and everything else, which it all kind of is this cycle of good or bad.
Yeah, I think everybody's got to be a work in progress. You can always, do a little bit better than you did before and just try to get to a point that you're, I guess, happy with, but just keep building on it.
Well, sometimes vicious cycle. I love that. Yeah, I got to get away from the survive and advance. You can only live there for so long. And sometimes in life, you got to go there. Something gnarly comes up, there's always challenges, but if it's a gnarly one, you might have to be in that survive and advance mode just to get through. But sometimes if you're just in the cycle of being unhappy, and you can tell you're like, yeah, God, I'm just being a pissant, whether it be the whole Saturday, or the whole week, it's like, God, month, this is going on. My God, take 30 seconds or a minute or something, ask yourself, why is this happening? Well, it's not still, it's progressing. But, and this is so dumb. You already know what I'm going to say, but I love this.
I don't know if I do.
Oh no, sometimes it's like I've gotten to this place before where you're in this cycle and something's got to change, whether it be with working out or whatever. And you're like, my God, if this is how you feel, how you're sleeping, or if your clothes are starting to fit right, just take a look and be like, what's going on? But you feel like that guy, and you love when I bring this up. You feel like the guy that just keeps hitting himself in the head. You think that this parts of this is true. I think about it, but I don't want to be that guy. But sometimes, whether it's again with diet or your behavior, how you're being a boss or whatever, if you keep doing this thing that you don't want to do anymore, you feel like the guy that keeps hitting himself in the head with a hammer. And they asked him why do you keep hitting yourself in the head with a hammer, and because he said, because it feels so good when I stop.
That's so dumb.
It's just dumb, but sometimes it's true. It's like, my God, if you take a second to stop hitting yourself in the head with a hammer, you'll realize that, my God, that feels pretty good when I don't do that.
You just gotta try to get yourself to stop doing it.
I should do something different. But no, time is, yeah. And again, it sounds maybe a little older. We're both getting a little older, but it's quite the asset to have, and it's easy to burn it.
Got to make the most of it and take advantage of every little bit that you have. And
as we said, you don't know what's going to end up. Whatever. Anything can happen to anybody at a time. That old, I always give the adage about a soccer ball sized water balloon falling from about a three-story window. Little ticker in there might blow at any moment, which most people, I understand, won't think's funny, but as it's well documented and we deal with our fears and our challenges with humor. But bottom line, it's true. You don't know what's going to happen. And I like that number, which I didn't draw it very big on that paper. 900. It's getting smaller. My eyes are shutting
936.
936, like I said. You don't get, those aren't guaranteed days.
No, that's the number that you would get.
Yeah, that's kind of a crazy number just looking at. But it's like, you don't get, those aren't on a punch card for you. You don't get those. That punch card could get ripped in half any day.
I hope not. I'm gonna laminate mine.
No, where the edge, it could get wet and something goes wrong. An old punch card. Something else could happen to it too, something, accident happens.
No, you gotta take everything you got and live it to the fullest, and
gotta let it rip. Gotta get that adage, which music we talk about. Get something that gets you juiced.
Tom Petty.
Morning. We talk about that. We'll talk about more. That Friday feeling. Let that Friday feeling roll over to a Monday morning one time. I think sometimes people assume they have to be pissed off on a Monday morning.
It's easier if
just in general.
If it's Victory Monday, though. We're getting closer to football season. If the Vikings just pulled out a win on Sunday, it's a lot easier to go in on Monday, riding that victory high.
That's true. It's for some, but even all the the memes and everything else about Mondays. I think people just have in their head that Mondays suck, but let it rock. Let it rock every day of the week. And I think sometimes, you find that if you do that, on the front end, it's very conscious. You know what I mean? I'm going to have a really good day today. I'm going to do this and this. But sometimes it's like the old body and mind start working together, and it's like, this is how we do things.
What is that? That's what you said before. If you're making it a routine, it's it's not something, I should do this. It becomes the expectation or the norm.
This is how I do things.
Yeah.
This is how I do things. Eventually turns into, like I said, I shouldn't wrap this up. The how I do things turns into, this is who I am now. know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think people think, I mean, it can change, you know, like the workout bug or whatever else, you know.
You haven't caught that one yet.
No, I caught a different bug apparently. I thought I got over this. Time to wrap it up.
Oh my
No.
gosh.
But
yeah, you're sweating.
ultimately, let's end it on Kevin, our dad, who I'm sure we'll talk about quite a bit on here. We'll have to have Kevin on our discussion one night.
Oh yeah, his character.
Kevin is he is always a fantastic person of all sorts, but Kevin endured a anoxic brain injury several years ago, so from a cardiac arrest. So Kevin's memory is rather poor, but because of that, Kevin brings a lot of wisdom and a lot of different perspective. But what is the one quote that's stuck in his head that he says rather frequently?
What was it?
About time. We'll end on that for Kevin tonight.
What do you say? I'll probably get it wrong, so you can correct me. But he's always saying, "Today is the time that you spend planning for tomorrow."
And that's true. And that's how Kevin says it too. Isn't that the truth? But I'd say closing thoughts on that, and let that Friday feeling leak into Monday. Let it rock.
Enjoy the day.
Positive. Conquered the day. What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let it buck. Okay. We'll see y'all next week.